What only exists with all of us? Bed bugs. They have no ecological benefit and target only humans, almost exclusively, just when the human hosts are sleeping, armed with natural anticoagulants and painkillers for enhanced, stealthy blood sucking. 8. We need a dragon's breath shotgun and the doom guy. Did I mention that bed bugs normally strike only in darkness? They are nearly invisible when young. They've mastered the art of hiding. They're immune to common insecticides, and they'll wait months, more than a year in some cases, without any nourishment, while patiently waiting for feeding opportunities. Doomguy has never faced an enemy with such exceptional clandestine tactics. Doomguy literally slaughtered an entire demon species cause they woke him up from his nap. I think he'll be fine. The ads that have the X inside the ad, so that when you click to close it, it takes you to the linked site. Honestly, WTF do they think will happen? I wasn't going to download your mobile game with an ad that has nothing to do with gameplay, but wow, you tricked me into going to your website. I think I will give it a try. If SMBD pays for the amount of people who clicked on ad, that's the only way why this trickery exists. But don't the ads pay for each click? Seems like it'd just be losing the money. There are 3 people involved: owner of the ad, owner of the product in the ad, owner of the website, who sells the ad space to ad owner. You click equals website owner, and ad owner get paid. Product owner pays. If ad owner can trick you into clicking, more money for him, I'd imagine. By the way guys, if you are enjoying this video so far, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It will help us out quite a bit, and if you don't enjoy the videos in the future anymore, you can always unsubscribe. Let's get back to the video. Fake pockets on clothing. As man, this isn't something I have to worry about, usually, but the first time it happened I felt so betrayed, made out to be a damn fool, thrust into an existential crisis wondering why I keep flipping this stupid flap up expecting a pocket to magically appear. Or, it was a jacket. Okay, so I'm a guy who usually, always, wears men's jeans, chinos, slacks, etc. I had no idea how terrible fake pockets were until I accidentally bought a pair of women's pants. They fit me okay, and I liked the cut. I wore them out one day, and now I know the issue. Fake pockets are the absolute worst. There were these huge bins of clothes, and everybody was rifling through them like crazy, and I grabbed one. And it fit. So I don't think that this is totally just a woman's suit. At the very least it's animals that are just slightly smarter than you expected. They always manage to your head, but are still dumb enough that you know they aren't doing it on purpose. I don't know how my dog managed to learn to turn light switches off on his own, but all he's done with his power so far is scare himself when it suddenly gets dark. Oh, I know some animals do things to you out of spite. Used to have a fish, African cichlid, bumblebee variety, that was entirely too smart for his own good. Forget to feed him around the same time every day. Yeah, has scooping rocks in his mouth and spit them at the filter intake, so it inevitably sucks one up and makes ungodly noises, so you pay attention to him and feed him. You're supposed to rearrange their tank every now and then so they stop being so territorially aggressive. Yeah, he took it out on your hand if you were about to put something he absolutely did not want it. Or if you were quick about it and buried things, so he couldn't scoop all the rocks out and make it float, he would utterly bury it in rocks. Once he would not stop burying the filter pipe, I had to rearrange the tank back how it was, then he was fine. Most interesting yet annoying fish I've ever had. Cichlids are hella smart, man. I had an Oscar cichlid in a tank with much smaller fish, not small enough for Oscar to eat though. Anyways, sometimes I'd throw in a couple Dorito chips in the tank. The smaller fish would try and eat the chips, but they were too big for them to eat. So my Oscar fish would come out of his cave and break up the chips to smaller bits, so the smaller fish could eat some. Mosquitoes. If we eliminate all the mosquitoes from Earth, we can tell future generations how we had to deal with crazy, blood-sucking, flying animals that would come out of nowhere in the thousands of numbers every day and would kill millions of people worldwide every year. And we could actually do that with no repercussions. They are not useful enough to any other species, where it would cause issue if they cease to exist. Everything that eats mosquitoes doesn't rely on them for food at all. They are irrelevant to the rest of the ecosystems they inhabit. Why we haven't started the mass mosquito extinction already is beyond me. Edit. Just the mosquitoes that bite us and cause us problems. Offing every type of mosquito is a bad idea. I would like to see some sources to back those statements up. I'm not necessarily disagreeing with you, but humans have a decent track record of things up without really thinking about long-term consequences. So I looked it up, and Forbes has an article by a scientist on the matter, and I was a bit wrong. Getting rid of every mosquito would cause issues. However, getting rid of just the species that bite us and suck blood would not. Printers. Now I hear you saying to me, oh, but wait, printers are so useful. Nope. They were all sent from hell to haunt us. Office printers are bad, home printers are worse. They never work, need 300 different drivers you have to get off the website. Oopsies, we don't make that one anymore. Oh no, the ink we gave you was a trial size. Guess what? Store sells the bastard random number your printer needs, but you can buy this replacement for $60 that will print maybe 2 pages properly. Stop buying inkjet printers. The only people who need ink printers are people looking to print high quality pictures. Laser printers don't clog/dry up nearly as badly as ink printers do, and print literally thousands of pages on a cartridge. And the ink doesn't cost more than human blood. Inkjet printers are such scam. I swear to God, my aunt had an all-in-one printer/copier/fax thing and nothing would work if one of the cartridges was out. I don't know if it's common practice, but it blew my mind. I just need to scan this document. Give me magenta. But I don't want to actually print it, I just need to scan it so I can send it in an email. Give me magenta. Credit scores. Used to be that the bank would do their due diligence on loan applications before offering terms that made sense for each person. Now they've constructed a huge system where missing one bill payment can over, and paying down debt early can be interpreted as a bad thing. The idea in principle isn't so bad, but the way it's implemented is stupid and unwieldy, and mistakes are far too hard to correct. I couldn't get approved for a mortgage due to missing a bill by 2 weeks from 2 years ago, so now I pay $400 more in rent a month than the mortgage would have been. Happened to me today. Got a notice that paying off a huge personal loan that I got at an abysmal rate lowered my score. In what universe does it make a lick sense that hey, I no longer have to pay this debt off because I did it all at once? Mighty suspicious of you to just pay off a loan instead of drown in bad debt. Gonna have to take some points off the board. Our tax system. In the US anyway. Most places don't have such confusing taxes. Usually it's just a bill that comes that you gotta pay. This is very possible and doable in America. In fact, in the past 20 years, both a Democrat and a Republicans on 2 separate occasions proposed a bill that would simply taxes so literally anyone could do it. The problem is it would cost a lot of accountants some jobs. So, America, in its never-dying love of retaining jobs that have no reason to exist outside of providing work, has never implemented a more simple tax system. That and H&R Block spends millions of dollars every year to make the tax code more complicated, so people will have to rely on some big company to do it for them. And yet another example of a big giant company purposefully making the government incompetent so that they can replace the government and charge citizens to do what you legally have to do every year. That would cost a lot of accountants some jobs. As an accountant, public auditor, not tax accountant, go ahead, change it. I'm from the Netherlands and the tax system is much easier here, and there's still plenty of work, too much to be able to handle actually. Reality. Some people rather ignore it, so they can keep avoiding harsh truths. Other people wish they could do the same, but can't let go of their principles that keep them bound to reality. Imagine if you could live in your dreams. Dreams are so blissful and vivid compared to the dark, unforgiving world we really live in. The reality each person lives in is just a construct of their minds. In a way, nothing really exists outside of your brain. Yeah, true. What I mean is that some people keep this reality more strictly aligned with observations and laws of logic that lay the patterns in the observations in the world. This can be somewhat measured by determining the overall average precision/accuracy of predictions, weighted by its confidence. Acne. As someone with severe cystic acne, I'm right there with you. Why do humans get acne? What is the biological purpose? It's usually bacteria, is it not? That's why I had it. I had MRSA the superbug, but it only ever gave me acne, and it was insanely resistant to antibiotics. I had to use that horrendous isotretinoin, or whatever it's called. Mine is caused by hormones. I've tried literally everything, from topical salicylic acid to Accutane. I think what you're taking about. This is my second time using it, so I hope it works permanently this time. Hormones always messed with me. Damn fat Accutane, that is what I meant, made me lose a decent mass of my face skin. I looked like I was itching my face with a cheese grater all day, no matter how much moisturizer I used. I hope it works this time for you. Moisturizer daily is what helps me most tbh. Junk paper mail in the physical mailbox. From the same companies constantly. Capital One, Discover, American Express. And certain ones have a thick cardstock insert, so you will pay more attention to it. Constant mailers from local realtors. Companies always pitching term life insurance. etc etc. Tricking you to think it's a tax form. Tricking you to think it's official government business. All junk mail needs to go away. All of it goes straight to the paper shredder, and that also takes up a lot of time to deal with. Advice from an ancient form of junk mail, chain email. When you get the ones with a predraced envelope, stuff it and mail that sucker back. Apparently, never had the occasion to try. The company will stop sending the junk mail when they start paying for postage to receive news about Jugs 432. Products designed in such a way that they are impossible to repair. Power tools, all consumer electronics, appliances, cars, tractors, agricultural machines, trucks. Anything with a bearing or a microchip, anything you can imagine buying and using, is well on its way to becoming the exclusive property of the people who sold it to you. Forever. This forecast brought to you in the year 2021. People in such a way, in order to make money, is perhaps the worst outcome of capitalism. The subtle manipulation of what it means to own something by corporations is the worst thing that has ever happened to society. It makes me feel a rage beyond words, because the unrepairable item is by definition something that only exists of you. I agree, but I think low wage, long hours and high cost of living, or wage slavery is worse. It makes you reliant on your oppressor. Wage slavery isn't something that exists with you, it exists every day until you pass out from the pain. And I still think unfixable things are worse. Narcissists. Not really. They are only concerned with supply and you're just a tool. Right, perhaps I'm being a bit general, but I've met plenty of colorful characters, avaricious people, who take pleasure in causing others grief or harm. There's many different kinds of narcissists. No, by definition a narcissist is someone who didn't form a self by separating themselves from their mother at an appropriate age of around 2. There's only one kind of narcissist, and they are either covert or overt. Not all narcissists. A lot of normal everyday people are quite narcissistic, but they aren't narcissists. Don't confuse the two so that you're able to deal with a true narcissist when you meet one. Believe me, I have met plenty of them in my life. My mom had to actively protect me from being raised by one growing up. So yes, I know true narcissism. Your definition of narcissism is far too rigid. It comes in varying forms and has various underlying causes, whether it be early trauma or an inherent difference in brain function. You're right in the sense that narcissists live to fulfill their own needs, regardless the cost of others, but sometimes a narcissist's needs are to cause damage to those around them. Domestic cats. Don't get me wrong, I love him to bits, but I reckon they're just like these humans will feed me and give me attention, and all I have to do is be cute and make meow noise. Suckers. Mine does stuff to annoy out of me if I don't wake when she wants me to. She also loves to knock things off shelves that she knows will get my attention, and fast if she wants something. They're clever and they're totally playing us HAA. In the US, filing taxes. Most people only receive a W-2 form and 1099 and maybe a couple other forms. All those forms are sent to the US government as well. This means the government generally knows your income. Yet you still need to file it yourself. It's technically possible for the US government to send you a filled out tax form which asks you, is this correct? Instead, tax preparation companies lobby to prevent that from happening, because if that did happen, they would lose their income. Each time you pay for tax preparation software or a tax preparer, you are giving money indirectly to lobbyists that do not ever want filing taxes to be simple. Some alternatives to filling out a paper form. The IRS website provides links to free online tax preparation software for those with less than $72,000 adjusted gross income, double if filed jointly. Some are even created by Intuit, makers of TurboTax. Additionally, there are volunteer income tax assistants, VITA, which includes volunteers who help do people's taxes. Push and pull doors. Have a standard on what kind goes where, especially in public spaces like grocery stores, restaurants, and the like. I know that weather in certain places can also affect how doors are opened. That is, in Florida, doors leading to outside areas open outward, because if debris from a hurricane flies into your door, it's gonna have a bit of a harder time getting in versus it just being able to smack right into a space. And in places where it snows, doors opening inward, because a door is not going to open outward easily or at all when there are several inches of snow packed up against it. But just please make a standard. The different kinds of connectors between devices. I get that have improved in different ways over time, but there are too many. A cursory search found that the common/recently retired types are USB 1.0, USB 2.0, USB 3.0, USB 3.0C, and the 8 other versions of USB types: HDMI, HDMI Mini, and HDMI Micro, mobile device and other small device charging and transfer, DisplayPort, Lightning, VGA, DVI, Thunderport. PS/2, Ethernet, audiovisual cables in those 3 colors: NDI, SDI, RCA, audio jack, telephone, fiber optics, and all the power cord shapes. And the fact that they have different connections on each side. I never have the right one. Also, the dozens of sizes of batteries. Edit made some things more clear. Religion. The world would be so much simpler if humanity didn't believe in magic fairies. Especially the ones waving the hammer and sickle. I think you're confusing religion and politics. Communism is not a religion. I'm quite familiar with the behavior and attributes of zealot god botherers. Tankies and their ilk are an expression of the same mental dysfunction with a variant target. Marx/Stalin/Mao/Skimmers avatars of the holy and sacred people are simply another damn cult out to enslave us all. Okay, I'll buy that. As long as you're not a right-winger claiming communism counts as a religion, because it conflicts right-wing Christianity, I'm good. I'd think about Marx a bit more too. I think others turned his ideas into a cult, not him. Not saying communism is cool, just that Das Kapital isn't, emo, cultish, just economic. Stalin? Mao? Kim? Cults to the core. In Nevada, that would be the 1-800 call number for unemployment compensation. Since this department is still overwhelmed with processing claims, it's almost impossible to get anyone on the phone, and if you are able to get your call answered, it's likely to be at a call center where they only have canned responses and are unable to actually look up your application and or to answer specific questions. To this I would also add the 1-800 number on the back of trucks that ask, "How safe am I driving?" The one and only time I ever called to express a concern about an aggressive truck driver, the person who answered the phone told me to F***K off. How have I not seen hemorrhoids yet? They show up to let you know that you drank too much or pooped too hard. I already know. And then, if that wasn't annoying enough, they say things like, "Oh, did you want to look cool at work? Carry around this inflatable in a tube for a 1-year-old you need to sit on, just so it doesn't feel like you're being sodomized with hot knives. Tough day at work. Please rest uncomfortably in a Laswai boy for the next 6 hours. Good luck wiping. You probably should have skipped the bran flakes and kale salad today. Yeah, this other stuff sucks, but hemorrhoids are here for your soul." I had one while I was serving at a bar and they refused to give me time off and told me to stop walking funny. Communism. I believe communism mostly exists these days as a boogeyman of the far right because they can't find cogent arguments against universal health care or childhood reading programs. How many communist countries are there? I think the US pretty firmly won the Cold War. But you see, now we have to label everything as socialism to get the point across. And ignore how much the rest of the world gets on much better than us with their mixed economies. How are we ever going to revert back to the of laissez-faire capitalism if nearly everyone in the world can enjoy a mixed economy and socialist programs get good press? The problem isn't any particular government or economic style. The real problem is the statistic that on average, 1 in 50 people is a psychopath or sociopath, and no one is doing anything to prevent them from being part of government or economics. It's truly absurd now that we have brain scans that can help diagnose these conditions. Sure, let them work, or whatever, but keep them out of anything important. High-speed automated stock trading, commodity futures, and Bitcoin mining. There is no benefit to society with this, other than for somebody to insert themselves in a revenue stream, skim off a bit, and artificially raise prices for the rest of us without actually adding any investment value to those issuing the stock, and to raise the price of stock for those of us who might want to invest. It's basically artificially hyping the stock price for no other reason than to skim off a bit of money. I think a 0.10 cent, or thousandth of a cent, tax on each share traded would put a stop to a lot of this BS. Lotteries. It might be simple enough to enter a lottery, but majority of the time, when you enter one, you end up gaining nothing in the end, and if you are lucky, you might win the third prize, which is generally a small amount of money you can spend in a day, or even the second prize, which is even rarer. As the game purely depends on luck to play the game, it intentionally FU*KS us over by taking advantage of the fact that most people lacks extremely good luck and plus can be potentially rigged, so the lottery owners can rub salt to our wounds when you fail. Jellyfish. Swimming is fun, and I understand the risks of ocean predators that eat us, because we go splashing about in their home. I accept that. But jellyfish don't care, they have no plan of attack to eat you, or for defending their territory. They just drift into you, because they happen to be there, and wrap around you, stinging with no comprehension of what people even are, or what they're doing. They seem to have evolved to the benefit of a tiny fraction of creatures that eat them, some of those just being other jellyfish, but the rest of their evolutionary niche to fill was just to be the worst thing in the sea. QWERTY keyboard layouts. The layout was literally designed to slow us down, so hammers in a typewriter had less of an opportunity to jam. Now that there are like 5 typewriters left in the professional world, we are still slowed down by this stupid layout. The Dvorak keyboard layout is far superior, most common letters on home row, second most common letters on top row, and least on the bottom row. Of course, it's hard to relearn a new layout, and you will constantly come into contact with QWERTY keyboards that people refuse to change, but we'd all be better off if we all switched. But here we are, no metric, no Dvorak. This is the end of the video. Thank you guys for staying with me till the end. If you enjoyed watching this, you might as well watch these too.